Hello, this is Conscious TV. My name is Iain McNay, and today we have a programme about non-duality. And I have in the studio with me Jeff Foster.
Hi.
Hi, Jeff. And Jeff got quite a story to tell in one way, and he's also a fascinating man. And I'm just going to ask him to start with, Jeff, what is non-duality?
Well, that is the question, isn't it? To me, the word non-duality, it means not two, and it points to this sense that somehow everything is one. Although it appears as though that there's separate things in the world. You know, I'm a separate person. I'm an individual with a past and a future, and these are all separate objects. Actually, it's all one. And you know, oneness is not separate from what's happening. You know, so it's like, you know, the spiritual search of ours is, you know, it's really the search for oneness. It's the search for completion, the search for unity.
And we all somewhere have that. I know it's inside me. It's this thing. We realise that we want something more to feel better or to feel complete. It's a very human thing to have in one way.
It is, yeah. And, you know, and this seeking begins out of the feeling of separation. It's because I feel separate from oneness that I begin to seek. And, you know, in the material world, it's the search for money, fame, better relationships, you know, a stronger sense of self. And in the spiritual world, it's the search for awakening, enlightenment. Really, it's the same search. It's the search for completion, the search to come home. And what I talk about really is, you know, the fact that you never left home, and that oneness it's all there is. And it's here now, and we're not separate from it. And when that's seen, the whole search for something more just falls away, it just burns up.
And when that happens, what does it feel like?
Well, you know, it's very difficult to talk about because, you know, when that happens, in the falling away of the separate self, you're not there. So you're not there to experience it.
So when you say you're not there, what does that mean?
I mean, to put it in simple language, I guess you could say that the past and future aren't there. This heavy sense of, you know, me being a separate person in the world. There's just what's happening, so and there's no one there to know it. It can't be known. It's like a plunge into the unknown, which is where we always are.
But you still think, or thinking still happens about the past and future, but you're not identifying with that. Is that how you would say it? Or?
Yeah, you know, thoughts still arise. Thoughts can arise, and it's just that they're not a problem, because there's nobody there trying to get an identity out of thoughts, because that's all we seem to do. We go out in the world, we grasp at things, and you know, we try and make ourselves into something. You know, that's really the human condition, you could say. It's the search to be someone, the search to be something, the search to possess, to grasp, you know. And so when that falls away, it's like everything is just released to be itself, you know, without the grasping. Without the grasping. And so in that, anything can arise. You know, thoughts can happen, sounds can happen, smells can happen, feelings in the body can happen. But there's no sense that any of it is mine. You know, there's no sense that I'm a separate entity who's in control of this. It's like sounds happen, but there isn't a separate person there who thinks, I'm hearing, I'm doing it, you know. So it's almost like, you know, the me at the centre of my life is seen to be an illusion. Life is seen to have no centre. But it doesn't mean that life stops, you know, it doesn't mean that life stops. People have this idea that once awakening happens, everything somehow stops. It's like a full stop, you know. It's absolutely not. It's an opening up to what is, you know. It's an allowing of what is, but it's not something that you're doing, and that's almost the hardest thing to hear.
And what happens to your personality?
Well, you know, it's the personality that's seen through. You know, the personality, it's seen that there's nothing fixed there. There's nothing fixed called me.
But the personality, I presume, it's like a program that's still running, and you've still got your likes and your dislikes.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just that you're not charged so much by them. They're not dominating you.
It becomes very, very playful. You know, you can play. It's like I can play at being Jeff. You know, when it's needed. You know, I can play at being Jeff. But really, this Jeff character, you know, where is he? You know, it's just a thought happening now, and that's not something. You know, it's not a special state that I'm in. This is true for all of us. You know, but it's the hardest thing to see, of course, that you are just a thought. Your whole past and future. It's just a thought arising now.
Are you aware of the personality that you're seeing changing over time? Does it become more refined? Does it lose certain charges? Does it expand? Are you aware of any changes?
I mean, it's difficult to talk about. You know, it's difficult to talk about without making me sound special. You know, this is, you know, awakening it's very ordinary. It's a collapse back into what there already was. You know, this has always been here. Awakening, it's always been here. It's just that we couldn't see it. I think that's the point. You know, we were so lost in this seeking game that we couldn't see what was there in front of us. You know, and this is oneness already. So it's like the secret of spiritual awakening is hidden right where we are, and it always has been. But we can't see it because we're looking for it.
No, I have a feel for that. The reason I particularly asked that last question was that I've spent some time with people that are in a well, they feel they're in an awakened space, a realised space, whatever you call it, enlightened space. And there's no doubt there was something special. I don't mean special insofar as, I do mean special, extraordinary. Extraordinary insofar as it's different from where other people lived, the way other people lived. And yet, at times I would see that their personality would take over. Not necessarily for a long time, but there was influence there. And I'm always interested, and I understand how that can happen, but I'm always interested in the possibility of maybe the personality developing so it doesn't have any kind of hold over the where you'd say the person is not really a person. I can get that to a degree, but it doesn't have some kind of influence.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the seeing of this, in the seeing that essentially there's no me at the centre of my life. There's no. I mean, this is the foundation on which our whole lives are built. That there's a me there,
Absolutely.
and everything stems from there.
Absolutely.
So, when that falls away, in the clear seeing that there's only oneness, the mind or thought or the personality or whatever you want to call it, there can still be a momentum to that because all the mind's known is seeking for its whole life.
Right.
So that can come back in. You know, it's almost like the moment you think you're awakened, you're not. You know, the moment you think you're awakened, you're not, because the mind's going to come back in.
Because you think you're
awake.
You think you're special, you think you're separate.
As long as you think you're awakened, there's a you who thinks they're awakened.
I get that.
Yeah. That's the hardest thing to let go of. You know, there was a time where I thought I was enlightened, you know, and I went around writing about it and telling people about it. And you know, even that was just a belief. It had to be. Even that was still separation. I'm enlightened, you're not. I'm enlightened, you're not. Separation, you know? And there was a superiority with that. There was the sense that I had got something special. You know, even that fell away, because even that isn't real. You know, that's almost the final illusion to fall away, but it's still an illusion. And, you know, the ego loves that. The ego loves to feel that it's enlightened and go around the world telling everyone that they're enlightened.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a great party trick, isn't it?
It is.